Right now, there is a heavy plastic jug sitting in your laundry room. You buy it every month. You pour a thick blue liquid into a machine, and you never think twice about it. It feels normal. But that jug is actually a 100-year-old financial trap. American companies like Procter Gamble have built a $100 billion empire on a simple premise: you will never stop buying soap. Tide is not just a laundry brand. It is a lifelong subscription. But halfway across the world, in a laboratory in China, hardware engineers just built a machine designed to delete that subscription forever. Appliance giants like Haier are rolling out washing machines that do something that sounds impossible. They clean your clothes perfectly using nothing but ordinary tap water. No pods, no powder, no harsh chemicals. If you are enjoying videos like this, please hit the like button because it takes a lot of effort to make these, and subscribe so you do not miss the next one. This is not a future concept. It is real hardware sitting on factory floors right now. By using built-in ozone generators and ultrasonic technology, these Chinese machines chemically alter plain tap water. They turn it into a powerful, active solvent. It rips dirt and bacteria out of fabric faster than the most expensive premium detergent on the shelf. The American consumer is about to face a brutal choice. You can keep paying a monthly tax to domestic chemical companies, or you can buy a single appliance that generates its own cleaning agent for free, right inside the drum. U.S. executives in Cincinnati are watching this threat very closely. They know exactly what is coming. Because a machine that cleans with tap water does not just wash your clothes, it starves an entire industry. To understand why this new Chinese hardware is so lethal, you have to understand the trap you are currently living in. In business, it is called the razor and blade model. You sell the razor cheap, and you make a fortune selling the replacement blades forever. The American laundry industry perfected this model decades ago. Think about the math in your own home. You might spend $600 on a standard washing machine. You expect it to last 10 years. The company that built that machine makes a one-time profit and moves on. But the detergent? That is a permanent cash flow. The average American family washes about 300 loads of laundry a year. They spend hundreds of dollars annually on heavy plastic jugs, concentrated pods, and stain removers. Over the 10-year lifespan of a washing machine, you will spend far more money on the liquid you pour into it than you did on the machine itself. Brands like Tide are the unquestioned kings of the grocery store. They generate billions in recurring revenue. But this entire financial empire rests on one fragile assumption. It assumes the washing machine will always remain a dumb metal box. For a century, American appliance makers and American chemical giants had a silent agreement. The appliance makers build the spinning drum. The chemical companies sell the soap. Everyone stays in their lane, and everyone gets rich. The consumer just keeps paying the monthly tax. You are locked into a captive market. You need clean clothes, so you keep buying the jug. But this brilliant financial trap is hiding a very dirty secret. The product inside that heavy plastic bottle is not advanced science. To understand why China decided to completely bypass this system, we first need to look at the primitive chemistry keeping the American trap alive. When you walk down the laundry aisle at a typical American grocery store, you are looking at a masterclass in marketing. The bright orange bottles, the heavy mountain spring scents, the labels promising a deeper clean. It feels like highly advanced science. But strip away the thick plastic packaging and the heavy perfumes, and modern detergent is actually incredibly primitive. At its core, laundry liquid relies on molecules called surfactants. Think of a surfactant like a microscopic crowbar. One end of the crowbar grabs onto water. The other end grabs onto grease and dirt. When your washing machine spins, the crowbar physically rips the dirt off your shirts and flushes it down the drain. It is simple, brute force chemistry. We have been using this exact same method since the 1930s. But there is a massive hidden cost to this old method. To make these crowbars work efficiently, companies load the formula with stabilizers, artificial brighteners, and heavy synthetic fragrances. You are not just buying clean clothes. You are buying a harsh chemical cocktail. That cocktail leaves a thin residue on your skin and dumps millions of gallons of synthetic waste into American waterways every single day. We accept this pollution. We accept the high monthly cost at the checkout line. We do this because we believe we have absolutely no alternative. We were trained to think there was no other way to force dirt out of fabric. Chinese hardware engineers realized this was a lie. They saw that the real problem was not a lack of soap, the problem was the water itself. Ordinary tap water is lazy. It needs chemicals to do the heavy lifting. But if you can change the physical structure of the water inside the machine, the detergent becomes completely useless. Here is exactly how they did it. Instead of asking you to pour in a cup of expensive blue soap, new Chinese washing machines build a microscopic chemical plant directly into the metal drum. Companies like Haier took two industrial technologies, ozone generation and ultrasonic ionizers, and shrank them down to fit inside a standard home appliance. Here is what happens when you press start. Ordinary tap water flows into the machine. But before it touches your clothes, it gets hijacked. An internal generator pulls oxygen from the air and hits it with a high-voltage electrical charge. This creates ozone gas. The machine then injects this ozone directly into the cold tap water. Ozone is a ruthless oxidizer. In the industrial world, it is used to purify drinking water and sterilize hospital equipment. When it mixes with the water in the washing machine, it transforms the lazy liquid into a highly aggressive solvent. The tap water is no longer just wet, it is weaponized. But the ozone is only half the attack. The machine also uses an ultrasonic ionizer. This device sends high-frequency sound waves ripping through the water. These sound waves vibrate so fast, they physically tear the water molecules apart. It charges the water, making it actively hunt down dirt, sweat, and bacteria hidden deep inside the fabric. To an American consumer used to tossing a plastic pod into the wash, this sounds like science fiction. But it is basic physics. The machine uses electricity to turn the water itself into the detergent. There is no chemical residue. There is no artificial smell masking the odor. It is a completely pure, brutal chemical reaction happening right inside your laundry room. But to understand how it physically pulls the stains off your shirts, you have to look closer. Imagine driving a car through an automatic car wash. You expect heavy, spinning brushes to physically scrub the dirt off your paint. That is exactly how traditional laundry detergent works. It uses harsh chemicals as the heavy brushes. But ultrasonic technology does not need brushes. It uses tiny, invisible explosions. Scientists call this process cavitation. Here is a simple way to picture it. When the new Chinese washing machine fires high-frequency sound waves into the water, it creates millions of microscopic bubbles. These are not normal soap bubbles floating in a tub. They are tiny pockets of intense vacuum pressure. As the sound waves pulse, these bubbles grow rapidly and then suddenly collapse. When they pop, they create a microscopic shock wave. It is like a tiny bomb going off right next to a deep grass stain on your favorite shirt. Now multiply that single pop by millions. Millions of invisible explosions are constantly firing across every inch of your clothing. These shockwaves physically blast the dirt, oil, and sweat out of the tight fabric threads. The ozone in the water then neutralizes the bacteria instantly. There is no heavy friction. There is no thick chemical residue left behind to irritate your skin. It is a completely mechanical cleaning process disguised as a normal, gentle cold water wash. Jewelers in the United States have actually used small versions of this exact tech for decades to clean diamond rings. Dentists use it to clean delicate surgical tools. It is precise, brutal, and highly effective. Chinese engineers simply scaled it up to fit inside a standard home appliance. They took an industrial cleaning method and put it in your house. The physics are undeniable, but brilliant technology alone does not destroy a massive market. The real threat to American detergent brands is the brutal math. Let us talk about money. Specifically, The brutal math that is currently keeping executives in Cincinnati awake at night. Cincinnati, Ohio, is the headquarters of Procter Gamble. They own Tide. They own the American laundry aisle. Their entire business model depends on you pushing a grocery cart down that aisle every single month. Look at the actual numbers for an average American family. Between premium detergent pods, liquid fabric softeners, and chemical stain removers, you can easily spend $300 a year. If a standard washing machine lasts 10 years, you are spending $3,000 just on the disposable chemicals required to run it. Now look at the Chinese hardware alternative. You buy a new ozone washing machine for a flat, one-time price. Let us say it costs $600. That is it. You are done. There is no hidden subscription. There is no monthly refill to buy. You just pay the local water bill and the electric bill. By the second year of ownership, the machine has completely paid for itself in saved detergent costs. Over a decade, that is thousands of hard-earned dollars staying directly in the pocket of the American consumer. For a household dealing with modern inflation, this is a massive financial relief. But for the American chemical giants, it is a total nightmare. You cannot compete with a product that costs $0 to operate. You cannot outmarket a machine that manufactures its own cleaning supply out of thin air and plain tap water. To defend their territory, U.S. brands are trying to pivot. They are pushing heavy eco-friendly campaigns. They sell you concentrated formulas and cardboard packaging to make you feel better about protecting the earth. But this green marketing strategy has a fatal flaw. They are losing that battle too. Walk down a U.S. grocery aisle today, and you will see a massive PR campaign. Major brands are desperate to look eco-friendly. They sell concentrated liquid pods. They shrink the plastic caps. They print green leaves on cardboard boxes. They want the American consumer to feel good about buying soap. But this is just a bandage on a broken system. Even if you buy a detergent in a cardboard box, you are still dumping gallons of synthetic chemicals down the drain. Those chemicals eventually flow into American rivers and lakes. Water treatment plants have to spend millions filtering them out. The Chinese hardware deletes this entire cycle. A machine that cleans with ozone and sound waves produces zero chemical runoff. The ozone gas breaks back down into plain oxygen within minutes. The only thing going down your drain is the dirt from your clothes and dirty water. Zero plastic jugs. Zero synthetic waste. It also attacks the American electric bill. Traditional chemical detergents rely on hot water to activate the enzymes. Heating water accounts for almost 90% of the energy a standard washing machine uses. The Chinese ozone and ultrasonic systems work perfectly in cold water. It is the appliance equivalent of switching from a gas car to a Tesla. The American chemical companies are trying to sell you a slightly more efficient gas engine. The Chinese manufacturers simply bypass the engine entirely. The financial math is brutal. The environmental benefits are undeniable. By every logical measure, this new hardware should be sitting in every laundry room from New York to California tomorrow. But it is not. Because logic does not dictate human habits. To conquer the American home, this new tech has to break through a massive psychological wall. If the technology is flawless and the financial math is unbeatable, why is this new machine not sitting in your house right now? Because American consumers have been deeply brainwashed. For decades, domestic chemical companies have trained us to believe that clean has a specific smell. They engineered artificial scents and slapped names on them like mountain spring, fresh rain, or ocean breeze. When you pull a warm shirt out of a standard American dryer, you expect it to smell strongly of synthetic perfume. It is a psychological trigger. You pour the thick blue liquid into the plastic cup. You smell the heavy fragrance. You feel satisfied that you did your household chore correctly. This is the final, invisible wall the Chinese hardware must break. When clothes are washed using ozone and ultrasonic shockwaves, they come out perfectly clean. The bacteria is dead. The dirt is gone. But they smell like absolutely nothing. They just smell like raw, wet fabric. To a consumer raised on brands like Tide, nothing feels wrong. It feels like the machine is broken. We have been entirely conditioned to confuse heavy chemical perfume with actual hygiene. Chinese appliance makers are now facing a bizarre challenge in the US market. They have to convince Americans to break a physical habit. They have to teach a nation to stop pouring liquid into a plastic cup. They have to convince you that real cleanliness is odorless. Overcoming this psychological hurdle is not just about selling a new washing machine, it is the final battle line. Once Americans realize they do not need chemical perfumes, the old corporate empires collapse. And that collapse signals a much larger shift happening right now. It points directly to a massive transfer of global economic power. This invisible battle over laundry scent is not just about washing clothes. It is a perfect micromodel of a massive geopolitical pivot. For the last 40 years, the American economy ran on a very specific setup. China acted as the global factory floor. They built the cheap plastic jugs. They manufactured the basic metal washing machine parts. But American companies kept the massive profits. American brands like Procter Gamble owned the recurring revenue. Now, that entire dynamic is flipping. China is no longer satisfied being the silent supplier for Western brands. They are graduating to a much more aggressive phase of global trade. Instead of supplying the raw materials for American consumer goods, Chinese engineering is building hardware designed to delete American goods entirely. Think about what this means for the US economy. They are cutting out the American middleman completely. A company like Haier sells a smart machine directly to a family in Texas or Florida. That family instantly stops buying domestic chemicals. The money stops flowing to corporate headquarters in Ohio. It stops flowing through American retail stores. The wealth transfers directly to the overseas hardware maker, completely bypassing the US supply chain. This is a strategic strike on recurring revenue. It is the exact same playbook we are seeing with Chinese electric vehicles. They are not trying to sell you better gasoline. They are building batteries that make gasoline irrelevant. In the laundry room, they are not selling you better soap. They built a machine that makes soap extinct. The implications of this stretch far beyond a simple household chore. If a single foreign appliance can erase a $100 billion domestic chemical industry, no recurring product in your home is safe. Because the hardware they are putting in your house right now is not just cleaning your clothes. It is actively thinking. The geopolitical stakes are massive, but let us bring this back into your own house today. The Chinese washing machines rolling off the assembly lines today are not just replacing soap. They are removing you from the equation entirely, leaving nothing to chance. Think about how you do laundry right now. You guess. You look at a pile of shirts, twist a dial on the panel, pour a random amount of blue liquid into a plastic cup, and hope for the best. It is a blind guess every single time, driven by old habits. The new hardware does not guess. It acts like a strict chemist. When you drop your clothes into the drum, internal sensors instantly analyze the fabric type. They test the exact mineral hardness of the local tap water coming through your American plumbing. They measure the exact weight and the heavy dirt level of the load. Based on that raw data, the internal computer calculates the exact amount of ozone gas needed. It adjusts the frequency of the ultrasonic shock waves in real time. If the tap water in Arizona is harder than the tap water in New York, the machine adapts automatically. It applies the exact same kind of logic processing you would expect from a Silicon Valley tech company, built straight into a normal household appliance. It removes all human error from a daily chore. You do not measure anything. You do not pour anything. You simply shut the door and walk away. It is a level of brutal, automated efficiency that domestic appliance makers simply have not matched yet. By making the machine intelligent, they make the old physical habit of washing clothes look completely absurd. And that brings us directly to the final, inevitable reality facing the American grocery store. Next time you walk into a major American grocery store, take a hard look at the laundry aisle. Look at the massive wall of bright orange plastic jugs. Look at the cardboard boxes of pods and the rows of liquid fabric softeners. Right now, that aisle looks normal. But very soon, it is going to look like a museum exhibit. 100 years ago, Americans paid men to deliver heavy blocks of ice to their homes every single week just to keep food cold. Then, the electric refrigerator was invented. The block ice delivery business vanished almost overnight. The hardware replaced the recurring chore, and nobody ever looked back. That exact same shift is happening right now with how we clean our clothes. The $100 billion empire built by companies like Procter Gamble is facing a terminal threat. You cannot fight a machine that runs on free tap water and microscopic shockwaves. You cannot convince an American family struggling with inflation to keep spending hundreds of dollars a year on synthetic chemicals when a single Chinese appliance does the exact same job for zero monthly cost. The razor and blade model is finally breaking in the laundry room. The long aisles of heavy plastic jugs will slowly shrink, and then they will disappear entirely. The future of cleaning is not a better soap. It is a smarter machine. The only real question left is whether American consumers are ready to let go of their old habits. So, here is a question for you. If a new washing machine could save you thousands of dollars and completely eliminate plastic waste, would you be willing to give up that artificial, clean laundry smell forever? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one, and I will pin the best takes for everyone to see.